when the wind is free. She's right. It is cold and windy, and with that comes, what am I going to tell you? Wrinkles and dry skin, and if your skin gets all leathery, well, today, Dr. Louis Federer is here, and he is a cosmetic dermatologist and surgeon. Cosmetic surgeon, you're right. He gives people facelifts, and he's going to tell us all about how to take care of our skin in the winter. Welcome, Dr.
Good morning, Ann. Nice to see you.
Nice to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Good evening. Morning.
Boy,
I just woke up. This is a very early morning for us because Mondays, well, you know, we don't start usually till a little later. So this is...
Yeah, you've got a cable show.
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah.
What's it called?
It's on Manhattan Cable every Monday night.
Here's looking at you.
It's
I love it.
It's on cosmetic surgery.
Well, what do you have for us today?
Well, you know, people often ask me how to take care of the skin in the winter because it's important. Don't forget, if your skin isn't taken care of on a year-round basis, you're not going to look great anytime.
I know.
So we tell people about what to use as far as cleansing bars are concerned. People don't like the word soap. They think soap is a no-no.
Well, you know, I know. It's hard to know what kind of soap to select for your face or cleansing.
We're going to talk about some of the things you can get over the counter, and some of the things, for example, people don't know. So we ourselves make over 60 products for our patients, but we'll talk about that later.
Let's start with some very familiar ones.
Now, for example, everyone says, Dr. Federer, do you think Ivory is a good soap? Now, I think Ivory is nice if you want to do your dishes, if you want to do your hubcaps. It's not a bad product, but not for your face because I think it's far too drying.
Yeah.
The thing is...
But it floats.
It does float, but it's awfully cold in the East River this time of the year, you know?
That's right. Okay, so you have Ivory, Chemay, and Lux.
Right, they're very drying. The same? More or less, and they're very detergent, and they're very drying.
Yeah.
Now, nothing wrong with cleansing the skin, but you don't want to dry it out so much. And compound that with wind and lack of moisture in your bedroom, and you compound that with rubbing your face. You can have a problem. Well,
what are these? I see you have
these
four
are better.
things
Now,
here. These
for
are
example, Basis is over-the-counter soap. It's super fatted. It's better. There's a thing called oilatum.
Now, these have oil in them, though, right?
Well, not per se oil. This is it's more or less an oatmeal soap. It's not really oil per se. There is some vegetable oil in here, but you see, you can't put oil on the skin by putting it into a product per se. I mean,
how do you get the oil to
the
come
most
out?
important thing is good hydration. I mean,
water.
Drinking water. I mean, it's very good. And that's the most important thing about taking care of your skin. Drinking enough water, adequate nutrition, vitamins are very important, especially in the winter.
Okay. Then, you know, my question is moisturizer. I have a real problem with that. I get surface dryness. I go out, search through, and I'm sure a lot of women do this, spend a lot of money on moisturizers, and then all of a sudden I break out. I'm allergic to them. Well,
the most important thing for you to do is not necessarily just follow the advertisements on the television, but to find a product that's good for you. First of all, it should be non-scented. Secondly, whenever you're concerned about a product, I would suggest, and this is to the audience at home too, of course, just take that product and put a little bit on the inner part of the forearm. Now you wait
right up here.
Rub it right in here, and wait until the next morning. If you notice an itching or a redness or an irritation, don't use it, because chances are you may have an allergy to it. And this is especially important for those who have underlying allergies, people with eczema, asthma, things like that.
Dr. Federer, I got to ask you this question about cost. You know, you go to a cosmetic bar and you can buy a very, very expensive
moisturizer. A lot of money.
And eye cream for all these little lines that are starting to appear. Is there any major difference in the most expensive kind and the least expensive kind of moisturizer?
To be truthful, I think you're paying a lot for advertising and for packaging. The important thing about a moisturizer is the fact that it should be basically a good ingredient.
Which is what? But how do you know what that is?
Well, you know, it's a matter of being told by your doctor or through personal experimentation. Now, we have our own product that's inexpensive, but like an Almay. That's not a bad product.
Does this have oil in it?
Most of them have, the basis of these things are water and lanolin.
Water and lanolin.
Most of them. And you want to avoid the very heavy ones. Now, for the lady who has a lot of wrinkles, who's older, will need a heavier moisturizer. For a young, beautiful girl like you don't need that.
Now, wait a minute.
Yes.
But by the time you're older and you have wrinkles, it's too late.
No, because the thing is prevention also.
Really?
Someone like yourself who's very fair-eyed, you must always wear sunglasses. I see you brought some out. Wearing sunglasses will prevent some of these ravages from the sun.
Okay. Did you hear that, Regis? Sunglasses.
Very important.
Okay, and now, let's go on to these
this is just basic cleansing things. You see, people say, oh, I'll use an astringent such as alcohol. Far too drying, no good.
Too dry, and
Witch
very
hazel,
harsh.
far too drying. And this is one product they were kind enough to bring from over the store. 1006, not a bad product. This is our own thing. But the key is not to have a product that's too terribly drying.
Okay, and witch hazel is very inexpensive, and it's not as strong as alcohol.
No, it's less. It's more dilute. But for example, a good one would have some resorcinol in it to cause a little light peeling also.
Let me ask you just quickly, is it important to use astringent?
I think so, especially for those people who maybe have a problem skin, but just people think if they perspire a lot or if they're very what we call sebaceous, that's good. It's not so good. You want to clean that out and let the skin breathe again.
And they always talk about the T-zone as well. Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on skincare, and we'll take your calls at 955-9800. Stay with us.
From America's past come 13 beautiful surprises. Meet Elsa, the Belle of Charleston. At least she was 225 years ago. Cecily, a daughter of Jamestown, in riding habit and proud plumed hat. Nancy goes to a garden party in Wilmington. Here's Hannah, Quaker maid from Philadelphia, in her Sunday best, starched cuffs, collar, and cap. And Alice, dark-eyed daughter of a Princeton professor in calico dress, white apron, eyelet bonnet. 13 delightful, very American dolls in all. The Little Maids of the 13 Colonies, a captivating collection from Franklin Heirloom Dolls. The sculpture is deft and delicate, with each lovely face painted by hand. Head, hands, and feet in fine bisque porcelain. Each hairdo in period style. Each costume authentic to the tiniest touch. The ribboned leghorn hat. Spring flowers, pretty pearls. Cozy muff to warm, dainty hands. And in the honored tradition of collector dolls, the mark of Franklin Heirloom. These American maidens, displayed alone or together, are a focal point for praise and pleasure in any room in your home. Start your collection with one simple phone call, 1-800-582-7000. You receive a new doll every other month at a most appealing price. Porcelain dolls of this size and quality sell for over $100 in retail stores. You pay only $55 in 2 easy monthly payments of $27.50. Best order by credit card. COD adds a $1 service charge. There's no risk. Each doll has the Franklin Mint's return assurance. From America's past comes an heirloom for your family's future. The Little Maids of the 13 Colonies. Call 1-800-582-7000. There's no place like your home.
Hunger is as big a problem in our own backyards as it is around the world. Join the New York City Fire Department and Channel 7 in Operation Can Do. Together we can beat it.
I think it's better for you.
We're back with Dr. Louis Federer, and he's telling us about how to take care of our skin in the wintertime. And one of the tips that he's talking about is to wear sunglasses, especially if you're fair-eyed, which you're not. But it matches your outfit.
I know, I couldn't resist. I saw that I had to have
the jacket. It's great.
You know, you did say to Anne, don't use scented soap.
Yeah, or moisturizers.
Or moisturizers.
Right.
Why scented soap?
Because they can cause allergic reactions. They can cause dermatitis. Some people, especially those who have an allergy propensity, they can get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From the scent?
Yeah.
You were going to show us what to do with this.
Now, whenever you put a moisturizer, a little bit, right?
Okay.
And what you do is take the 2 small fingers.
What?
You want me to put this on you?
No, you put it on yours.
His
Then
makeup
I'll
is
ruin my
great.
makeup. Okay, 2
What you do?
That's the idea.
Yeah, take little fingers. And
Okay.
ever so gently, in an upward manner, like this. Don't try to pull these tissues out, because these are the most friable tissues, the most easily damaged
Friable.
tissues.
Boy, is it
Easily
right.
damaged, right. These,
Okay.
Because these are the first things that people consult me about cosmetic surgery. It's the eyes and the neck. And so the eyes, if you wear sunglasses, that will decrease the effect of ultraviolet light and the wrinkling.
All right.
So gently, ever
Gently.
Oh, that's
upward, and not stretching these tissues. It's very
Really
important.
great.
Yeah.
Well, you said something about eliminating wrinkles around the eye. You said there was
There
a way
are
to
things
do
that can be done. For example, you can do sometimes little light chemical peelings can work. Sometimes the collagen injections can work.
Ooh, those scare me.
Yeah,
Those scare me.
But they work. You know, not for the very, very deep ones, but the little acid peelings are very, very effective.
And that's something you
And gotta
inject into
keep
your
them
eyes?
Around, the tissues around, not in the eye, just in the small areas around it. Very carefully. You have to have a very good hand for this kind of thing.
Now, for the men, after you shave,
Yes.
don't put on aftershave lotion.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's
That's what I say.
right.
Put on aftershave.
Sure, right.
Well, does it break
I
your
thought
skin?
aftershave lotion had a tendency to dry your skin up because of the
Yes,
alcohol
alcohol.
content.
But it's a nice, more or less
From the
stop.
last 1,200 interviews I've done on this subject, I've been told that the alcohol in this aftershave lotion was bad, more
Not too
harmful
much.
to your
Not.
skin.
A little bit's not going to hurt you.
What about the irritation? I know that some
What
men
about the
get that.
irritation?
Of what?
With
What did you notice?
aftershave. Well, the little red dots.
After you
Red
shave
blotches,
itself,
yeah.
you know, you're putting it on, it more or less stops the trauma of the shaving procedure itself.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we go to the audience? All right, fine. Good morning. How you doing?
Hi.
What's on
Good
your
morning.
In the wintertime, it seems like my face around my nostril area and forehead gets very dry and very red. What would you suggest be good to use for
I
that?
think you probably have that all year round, too, don't you? Very
Yeah,
red
at
here.
certain times, though.
You're a little far from me, but I think you have a little mild condition called rosacea. And it's redness in here. It's a variant of acne, and you probably have it across the forehead and here. And I suggest you avoid spicy foods and avoid washing in hot water. That's one of the things we should mention before. Avoiding hot water, patting dry. Don't really traumatize your skin. And, of course, we're going to mention later about using a vaporizer in your bedroom. Very important.
And by all means, avoid wearing Hawaiian shirts in January.
Might bring some warm weather, though.
Because rosacea really, is that contagious, rosacea?
Rosacea.
It matches
Rosacea, yeah.
the shirt.
Because the guy sitting next to you all of a sudden is getting a little red around his face.
right.
Anybody else have a question? Shall we go to the
Eight.
phones?
There's a lady right there.
Good morning, you're on the morning show.
Good morning, Regis. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning.
I'd like to say I love your show.
Thank you.
And to the doctor, I have a question.
All right.
I have acne. I'm 29 years old. It's always been a problem. What product would you recommend I use for the dryness?
Well, I think, first of all, the most important thing is not to try to medicate yourself. See your doctor. See your someone who is a cosmetic dermatologist who's interested in taking care of this kind of a problem. It will usually just not go away. The problem with acne is that acne, if it's left alone, will scar. And that you don't want. So I suggest before you use anything, consult somebody who really does know about this.
What about vaporizers here in New York? Everybody
Great.
swears by them.
Very important. The most important thing I suggest to people, change the water every day. Fungus has a little cute habit of growing in there, and you're just putting fungus all over your room. So wash it out and clean it
What
every day.
actually does that do?
It causes some moisture in the air. It's good for your skin. It's awfully good for furniture, Regis.
Good for furniture?
It
Very
keeps
good.
furniture from drying
And
out.
exactly. You just leave it plugged in, and don't keep that thermostat up too high. That really dries your skin out.
Good morning, you're on the morning show.
Yes, hello. I'd like to ask the doctor. I have very, very dry skin. I just came back from Europe, and the water there is very, very hard. What can I do?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned, avoid hot water. Avoid the caustic soaps. Get a good cleansing bar, something that's very mild for your face. Pat dry, and use a moisturizer that you like, that you've tried in the past that is helpful for
What
you.
about cold cream as opposed to a cleansing bar?
Cold cream isn't bad.
No?
No, it's not a bad agent to use to help get things
But
off.
soap is okay.
Depends. Well, people dislike the word soap. They think, oh, soap, Brillo.
Yeah.
And most soaps are terribly dry, and that's why a lot of people today, a lot of doctors, a lot of cosmetic companies are going out of their way to make themselves a good cleansing bar that people can cleanse themselves without drying themselves
We're
out.
giving everybody in the audience a cleansing bar today.
Absolutely.
I have one final
I
question.
brought you all cleansing bars.
Thanks.
If, you know, in regard to your furniture, if you don't have a vaporizer, should you cold cream your furniture just to make sure it stays okay?
You can give it a facial.
Put moisturizer on it.
All right, listen, thanks. I'm shaking hands, Ann. Thank you very much, Dr. Federer, for being with us. Nice to have you
Thanks so
here.
much for
Still ahead, Jack Palance and Lee Bowman is next. Stay with us.